say that we have a sports car enthusiast brand in the electric arena. And you have to introduce yourself. I know who you are, but anyway, for the public who is
my name is Peter Horbury. I'm the head of design, or the vice president of design for the Lotus Group.
Yes.
So that's both the sports car company and the what we call Lotus Technology, the Chinese-based company building what we refer to as the lifestyle products. So.
But you have a long heritage in this industry, and you have a long, I think, also a heart for Swedish cars.
Absolutely.
You have really transformed the Volvos today.
That was back in the 90s. We went from the pendulum had swung all the way to square.
Yeah.
And I probably took it all the way to the other side.
Yes.
And now I think
The
Volvo's in the
S80?
right place. Well, the S80 was, the environmental concept car was the very first,
ECC.
which allowed us to make that change, because that was presented. There was still some opposition in Volvo to move so far away from where they'd been.
Yes.
But we continued, and the ECC allowed us, because of its reception, allowed us to move into the S80, S60, etc., and the XC90, of course. So it was a bit of Volvo's history, I suppose.
Yes, you're a big part of Volvo's history. Now you're shaping a lot of other Chinese brands as well. You've been in Geely and so on. Yeah.
Well, we started Geely Design back in 2011. Li Shufu asked me to, take charge of the other brands outside of Volvo, and so we started with 5 people in a borrowed room in Hisingen, Gothenburg. And when I finished that role, November last year, there were at least 1,600 design staff on the Geely Global Design. So it became quite an operation. But then after that, I thought it's time to start concentrate on one brand.
Doing one brand.
Yeah.
But I must ask, how is he as your chief, or how is it to work under him?
Fantastic, visionary, and never stops thinking of the future and where we should be going, and sometimes has some very, very strong yet very valid opinions about the design.
Okay.
And I really admire the guy and enjoy working with him.
So has he told you sent some feedback on this car?
Yes, we were moving in another direction at first.
Okay.
And it was still a Lotus, but perhaps I was looking a little too far behind to get inspiration for the future. We've managed, I think, to capture the look of Lotus, but in a more futuristic manner. So I'm very happy that we had that conversation, and we reacted to it. And
it would have been more retro, sort of.
Not retro, but I think you'd have seen a little more of perhaps the Evora with its sort of visor-type windscreen.
Yes.
That was a very strong feature of the Evora, and I think he saw it as too much of a reference back.
A little bit of a Saab as well, with a rounded
Range Rover, Saab, and now Kia.
Yes.
I mean, it's still a very, very interesting design detail. But we've moved on.
Yes,
and here we are.
it looks really, really sporty.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, the fact is, we don't have that massive V8 or a V10 like the competition, and that meant we could.
You never had.
No, there was no thought of it. It was just we can lower the front, and we can move the whole top of the car forward.
Yes.
And that really recreates the Lotus look. The mid-engine sports car has been synonymous with Lotus for 30 odd years.
Yes.
So being able to bring that look into an SUV, therefore it creates a unique look for such a vehicle.
So would somebody argue that Lotus sells out to make SUVs?
Well, I'd say we took a lead from Porsche. They found it not probably possible to maintain the pure sports car business. So with future business in mind, we had to branch out into other areas, and there is a sedan coming, albeit a very sporty one. So we keep the dynamic qualities in the design, but we're moving into new areas and new customers.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Much more upmarket and more. You don't have to be really a nerd to buy a Lotus now. You can be a normal person.
Well, if you have a woolly bobble hat, you're still welcome, of course.
Yes.
No, it's spreading the brand much
Can you
further.
talk a little bit about the design then?
Yeah.
The aerodynamics of the car and the specifics of what you point out for us the specifics that you are really
obviously with the lack of petrol engine and its accompanying radiator, like many big SUVs with a big bluff front.
Yes.
That causes sort of wind resistance, let's say. We were able to do away with that radiator, bring the front down as much as possible, but even in here, the air gets distributed out through these vents here.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, you can shake hands if you like.
Shake hands.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, there you are. So that means that it doesn't. There's no pressure build-up on the front of the vehicle.
Okay.
But it creates a sort of downforce, which is important for handling.
Yeah.
Down below, there's a set of vents there, which are normally closed when you're doing regular speeds on motorways, but when you need cooling for the battery, which electric cars do need, they open automatically. The car knows when it needs to cool the batteries. But when they're closed, the air gets channeled through here, through the wheel arch, and out down the side. So there's never a build-up of pressure which slows the car down, which is very, very important on electric cars.
A little bit like the Polestar 3?
A little bit.
Yeah, but more.
No, it's as I said, it's essential for an electric car to maintain as much range as possible with a given battery power. And aerodynamics, therefore, plays a much more important role.
If you look at this, I see that a lot of cars used to look like this, and now it goes like that.
Absolutely.
And that's of course also for the range.
It helps aerodynamically, but to be honest, in the early days of bumper protection and the technology we knew, then there would tend to be like girders across the front of the car. We've learned how to do
that.
Well, when we did the Volvos, for example, the S80, the idea was to knock the corners off.
Yes, it was.
And that's because visually, when you can make it look tighter around the wheels, you may have a fairly long overhang where it's needed. But then if you can cut the corners off, the view from the middle of the car across to the front, the car appears to be just this long.
Yes.
Because you don't see that much of it.
Yes.
And likewise, if you take the corners off the rear, you also keep the car looking tight around the wheels and therefore much more sporty.
Shall we look at the rear?
Yeah, sure.
So these, you have to talk about these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, a traditional mirror is a big issue when it comes to aerodynamics and wind noise.
Yes.
So in markets where this is allowed, and it's not everywhere, this is a rear view camera. It actually appears, or the view appears on screens just in the top of the doors. You might think that's a disturbance when driving, but they only come on when you look at them. There's an eye tracking camera, and it knows when the driver's looking at the mirror, so then it shows the view from behind.
But you didn't choose to have the LiDAR here, or?
Yes, it's there.
But you made it inside, or will it pop up?
It pops up.
When you drive?
Yes. When you're using the autonomous driving, like a Lotus headlamp used to do.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean,
that's
it means
clever.
Well, it is, because if you happen to buy a black one in London, you don't want people sort of hailing you.
But you actually gain some range with that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Everything that helps the aerodynamics. Also the LiDAR, when it's deployed, this comes out, and it's under here.
So LiDAR comes out here?
Yes, yes.
Can you?
Not on this car, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It's,
so you have three LiDARs.
Three in the front, and one on the roof at the back.
Then you're ahead of Polestar and Volvos.
Yeah, this is level 4. This is,
This is level 4.
Hands off.
So do you think will you one day sit in this Eletre and just do like this?
Personally, no, this is as much of a driver's car like any Lotus should be.
But
I mean, if you're really in a queue, it's
but if
whatever you feel, but it's possible.
If it's a boring motorway, you're just going for 1 hour more.
When it's legal, and that's not everywhere.
No.
Not yet. But this is ready for it.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
you think you will?
Yeah.
So you will use this car as that?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But that's also, of course, extras. That's not
To be
included.
honest, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I know the head-up display, because you can see there's no instrument cluster. The head-up display is standard.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But Volvo and Polestar or some other they claim that it's very nice to show the technology,
Yeah.
but you're hidden it.
Yeah, we think it does affect the aerodynamic performance, and none of them look beautiful.
No, it's
Or
not
you could
a
say
thing of
it's
beauty.
like a beauty spot
Yeah, it is.
or a
Yeah.
wart.
Yes. Okay, so the rear.
Okay.
It's a long car.
Yeah, you notice the air is also managed passing along the side of the car.
Yeah.
It goes through here, which creates a sort of wake, which then gives us an aerodynamic advantage.
Oh, these are really nice.
Yeah, this is
like
something
or
you'd like to
something.
you more or less see on a Formula One or a jet
Yeah,
fighter.
yeah.
And they're split because of the LiDAR. That needs the view
So
all
you
the
have
way.
to split them. You couldn't have the whole.
Yeah.
And
then
this
this
is
comes up.
retractable.
Yes. Yeah.
So what is the CV on this car?
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Okay.
We'll have it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know it offhand.
So
But
it's very
for this type
sensual.
of car, it's very low.
It's very sensual. The shapes and the.
Well, do you know the Avaya, the electric sports car?
Yes.
This is inspired by that. Everywhere there's a potential build-up of air pressure, and therefore slowing the car down, we've relieved that pressure through venting it out again. Wheel arches are notorious for holding a lot of air,
of
and
course.
therefore it slows the car down. Yeah.
You can see the sort of this rounded shape. That is a little bit Lotus.
Well, that's
Lotus.
Yes.
That would not be Lotus.
precisely. You spotted it, and I mean the curvature over each wheel. This is, very much a Lotus feature, right
It
from
is.
the race cars of the '60s
Yeah.
to the Elise and the
Yes.
Avora. All
Yeah.
have this. But of course, by doing this, it enhances that.
Yeah, and I like
front
that.
fender, yeah.
And you can see it from the steering position.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want
exactly.
to see it.
Yes, please.
It's essential to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
So are you involved also in the interior?
Yeah.
Then we have to look at the interior. Talk about lighting. Lights are so interesting because they are in all shapes.
Yes.
And you can do whatever you like with it. And why did you do exactly this?
Well, what we wanted was to show the daylight running light as a real piece of the car's jewellery and the face. The headlamps are invisible when they're off. So
yes, they are nice here.
yeah,
down
that's
here.
the nice surprise when the headlamps come on. But otherwise, it's the view is concentrated on the daylight running lights.
Yeah, you're looking at this, but that's where the magic happens.
That's so you can see the car.
Yeah.
That's so you can see the road.
Okay. So do you think it's more interesting to design cars now in the electric area, or will the car become more look-alike because of the aerodynamics and
Be careful.
long wheelbase? And
My grandmother used to say that in the 50s. They all look the same to me.
yeah. She
It's
was
a
wrong.
sort of sign of age.
Or maybe everybody thinks that's how
I think,
it is.
to be honest, it still amazes me that given the rules, like the European regulations, where the lamp should be, where the windscreen pillar should be, and all the other, set dimensions, that we can actually still make a difference.
Yes.
It's really an achievement.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm quite confident that we will keep the Lotus look and progress it, of course, not just stay with one design idea, but I think you can say this looks nothing like the car over there.
But is it more interesting to design electric cars than combustion cars?
I've always been a fan of what we call the cab forward.
Yeah.
I think the horse-drawn vehicle has had its day, and that was the engine, the horse, the driver, and the passenger over the rear axle. And I think
the
we were able to move on.
Or something, yeah.
Sorry?
The Chrysler 300, was it?
Well, they were the first,
Yeah.
yes. But the people stayed where they were and
Yes.
created the longest dashboard or history plan in the world.
It's kind of stupid.
We've used that advantage of the extra room by bringing the front seats forward.
Yes, you have more room in this car.
Absolutely, more room.
But how do you compare these cars to the Volvos and the Polestars? Because they are competitors.
Yes, almost internal competition, and it means that we have to try harder. And we're perhaps the most sporty of the Geely-owned brands.
Yes, you are.
And we have the heritage, of course. I think they're doing a great job at Polestar and Volvo, but we try to make sure we stay apart. If there's a tendency to follow a trend, we could all end up very close. But I think we've all got our brand ideas set, and this is ours.
So what was the idea with the interior? How should a modern Lotus interior be?
Well, as I said, the tradition would be to have a large cluster of instruments, even if it's a screen. It was always in front of the steering wheel.
Can I sit in?
Yes, please. And then you were limiting the size of the wheel because of what you had to see here.
Yes.
You couldn't make it quite so small as this. But here, all cars, it's 100% head-up display. It's not an option.
Okay.
So we didn't need that instrument. And all you need is here, and the passenger gets equal billing on the information.
Yes.
And the screen here, touch screen for entertainment and navigation, etc., and voice, of course, voice control. But when you really want to be a driver, all the controls you'll need to drive the car enthusiastically are on the steering wheel.
Okay.
And all the information you ever need is up here.
Okay.
Which means that you've got your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. And that actually folds away, so it doesn't disturb you.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a driver's car.
It goes like zip in?
No, it just tips down and switches off.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're driving?
When you choose to drive enthusiastically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I like it. These are sort of two separate.
Yeah, we felt it was a more equal scenario for the driver and the passenger. Yes. And it echoes the wings on the back.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And here we have the.
Yeah, we try to get those as high as possible.
Yes.
There's some cars down here, and that means you look away a little too far from the road. So this one is as high as we could.
And it's a four-seater.
This is a four-seater.
But you can have a five-seater.
China is a.
This looks retro.
These are KEF. The whole sound system is KEF.
Okay.
Very high-end.
I like the design because most of them make the.
We made a feature of this, and
you made it. Yeah.
And you can see that the quality is pretty high, and we offer leather, of course, for some customers, but we have totally leather-free interiors with quite high-end microfibers and wool. So.
And the steering wheel is sort of.
It's not round.
Not round. It's not even sort of 50-50 the same. It's different.
Yeah.
Up and button.
Well, the shaping here is so that you can see what you need to see, but it's still, at this point, it's quite small, and.
You can actually sit rather low in the car.
You can adjust, of course.
Yeah, you can sit rather low.
Yeah.
Some of the SUVs you just really high.
Personally, I always ride high in an SUV, but if you want to be a racer car driver, you still can.
Now I can see the hood, the front.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, the attention to detail is important because people are paying a fair amount of money for one of these, and they want to see the quality.
So you are continuing with the whole lineup of Lotuses now?
Yeah, we've got a new sedan, another SUV, and another sports car, all electric, in the pipeline.
And can you make lightweight? Make Colin Chapman proud again about the lightweight? Can you be the lightest sports car?
That's the idea, of course, would be to. Given that electric car is inherently more heavy than a regular car because of the massive batteries under the floor. But by building a car out of aluminium and not steel, which this is, and use of carbon and things like that, we can make the lightest of the inherently weightier vehicles.
What's the weight?
That we can. I don't have it offhand, but it's, I think they're still measuring it as they build it.
So when can we drive it?
You have to ask our colleagues, but we expect them to come into Europe and Scandinavia in the summer.
Yeah.
but I'm rather hopeful I'll get one soon.
Yeah, I imagine. How long have you been working on this car?
Well, I suppose at least 2 years, but we tried other designs earlier on and settled on this one. And to be honest, the only reason it's now finished and here today is because we used virtual reality for design decisions.
Okay.
Because I'd be sitting with the VR helmet on, or the goggles, I'd be sitting in this car that didn't exist. It was just on a chair.
Okay.
And next to me would be the chairman in China.
Wow.
And he appears as like a motorbike helmet and a torso and a hand.
All right.
But we can talk about the design. It's all there. I mean, even the grain of the leather and everything. It's fantastic. And in the back seat, there's the chief designer in Coventry joining in the conversation. And that's been the way we've taken design decisions over the last 2.5 years. We couldn't travel, therefore we had to find a way.
And will you still continue
absolutely.
That after
COVID? It's every day now we use virtual reality.
And does it make the process?
Yeah, I was sitting in Sweden, the chairman in China, and the designer in the back seat in Coventry, all talking to each other and seeing each other.
That's brilliant.
And then we could stand and look at the car from over there.
What time in the day? Is it night for you or morning for you?
It's morning for us, evening in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morning for you. Great.
So yeah,
it's a good way to start the day. Super. I like it. I love it. Do you have a franc?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't. I don't know this.
Okay.
Oh, does it?
How many kilo is this?
You don't know. You don't know. So thank you very
Can we
much.
open this?
Yeah. Maybe you can open it.
Maybe I can.
Yeah, maybe you
Maybe
can.
I don't know how. No.
We can try together.
Is this openable?
No. Maybe we have to do it twice.
No, it
Double
doesn't.
dip.
It doesn't open.
Doesn't open.
Sorry.
We don't open, right?
So the last question. What about the logotype?
Yeah.
How much did you discuss this?
Oh.
How big is it going to be?
Absolutely.
Of course, it's going
and
to be
the colour
yellow.
has changed from green to black.
Yeah.
The Lotus is no longer following the curve.
Yes.
It's a fresh start for Lotus.
So you have been working a lot with this one.
Yeah. Yes. How much crown there should be on the surface, how thick the silver should be surrounding.
Okay.
And that's of course Colin Chapman's initials.
Colin Chapman's initial. That's the first.
No.
No, it's
always there.
Always there.
Yeah.
On the.
They're even on the head restraints in the car.
And how big it's going to be?
Well, I mean, it's all a matter of scale to the vehicle we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's,
okay.
A badge that size would look a little bit.
Yeah.
Awkward.
So on a sports car, it could be smaller.
No, we can alter the size. That's not a determined size. It's all about the scale of the vehicle.
Great.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
It was a
you're welcome.
pleasure to see
nice
you
to see
and
you.
see your car.
Glad you like it.
We're looking forward to drive it and see more cars to come.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll recognise that it's a Lotus when you drive it.
I really
Put a lot of
hope and
work
think
into
so.
that. Yeah.
Yes. Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.